the month starts with Chris Sabin being informed that Paul London will not be his X Division title challenger on the first show of the month on the June 4th pay-per-view. So Sabin gets to choose his opponent. He's like, oh, who am I going to choose? Scott Hudson is there with him. He's like, you could choose Juventud Guerrera. And he's like, oh, sorry, this was the June 11th show, not June 4th. He's like...
Yeah, I was going to say, he was still finding out which side is he... which side is he on?
Yeah, Chris Sabin was rejected by Chris Harris. And honestly, surprisingly okay with it.
I mean, he got beat up. He did try to, like, punch him.
That's true. But he's just, I'm just going to move on. I'm just going to go back to my X Division stuff.
Well, he's the champ, you know?
So yeah, Scott Hudson is like, oh, you could pick Juventud Guerrera. It's like, oh, I could pick Juventud Guerrera, but maybe someone else. And Scott Hudson is like, oh, it's a Sean Waltman 6-pack. It's like, oh, that's a good option. It's like, no, I'm going to choose Shark Boy. Then Chris Sabin gets up in the camera. He's like, Derda.
Sabin, like, this is what I mean. He matches that same chaotic energy that an Eric Watts has, which is why, like, I think like, this is an early reminder here, is like that kind of weirdo charisma is like perfect for the era that him and Shelley like blow up in, you know?
So Sabin defeats Shark Boy to retain the title. We'll talk about Shark Boy and New Jack in a second, where we're talking about the Hard 10. So we'll park that for a moment, which is honestly some of the better stuff of the month. So
decent little Shark Boy match.
Yeah, Sabin retains the belt. Shark Boy, good wrestler.
Yeah.
So the following week, Paul London finally gets his X Division title shot. He faces Chris Sabin in a really good little TV title match.
I love this match. I thought this was... They went all out. They worked at a pace, which is something you rarely see. They went balls to the wall spot first. London was throwing kicks, throwing drop salts multiple times. These two went crazy with each other. Sabin was doing all these like Power Junior stuff to London. London went out there and he killed it on like his last match. During the match, you had Punk come out and imitate Raven, which was like, he's like, hey, look, Raven, I'm like you, but in the X Division. And led to London's loss when he dropped London with the Raven effect. Sabin picks up the scraps for the win. Like, this is a match I really loved. I think it was a bit higher on it than you were. But, yeah, I went 3 3/4. I really enjoyed it. This is like one of my favorite X Division matches we've had so far. Tidy, short, they worked at a pace, they killed it.
Yeah, it's very much the case that there's like, you guys have 6 minutes, so go make it count.
It was like, condense your Ring of Honor 20-minute match into 6 minutes. And they went out there and worked at that pace.
They just went out there and kicked ass. And even like this, as you mentioned, this is Paul London's last match. He has a couple more Ring of Honor matches after this before he goes to the WWE, and very unfortunately.
Hey, I think he wrestles Styles and Joe.
Yeah, so he even got to hit the London Calling in this match before CM Punk interfered. So he got to hit his finish on his last match.
I truly wish we lived in the reality in which he stayed. Imagine if like the next generation of X Division stuff was Sabin, Bentley, Kaz, and London.
And Punk.
And well, no, the Punk stuff doesn't happen, so...
Well, Punk goes into the tag division with Julio Dinero, so...
Yeah.
But other things in the X Division this month. The month began with a 6-man tag. Punk, Matt Striker, and the debuting Frankie Kazarian against Kid Romeo, Johnny Swinger, and I didn't write down Dothard's first name. Damien Dothard?
Who cares?
Yeah, he's there too. But that is Frankie Kazarian's TNA debut. Frankie Kazarian, of course, a very notable member of TNA history.
Yeah, Ring of Honor original. Ring of Honor got him, I think, a month before TNA, so I can now refer to him as a Ring of Honor guy the whole time.
Yeah, Damien Dothard. He was Damien Steele in Deep South in WWE. He was Jesse of Jesse and Festus's partner.
Ah.
And also sadly passed away in 2009 with a brain aneurysm, so...
Sad.
Very unfortunate. I find it fascinating because Punk in this match is doing X Division style stuff, and it's just not who he is as a wrestler, and it's very, very like weird and fascinating. Yeah,
that match was very clearly like they wanted to set up as like Sabin's rival immediately because they brought up the name. They really wanted to emphasize that. Thought it was good. I liked Kaz in this
because both Kazarian and Sabin go by the nickname The Future, so they were very much being like, oh, it's the two people who go by the name The Future.
Maybe they should wrestle.
So Kazarian also had the match we mentioned where he teamed with D'Lo and Sandman. The actual story of that match, they didn't tell it until the following week, but they said that D'Lo and Sandman chose Frankie Kazarian as their partner to face Don Harris, David Young, and Sonny Siaki. So it's another little thing being like, oh, two people as experienced as D'Lo and Sandman picked Kazarian to be their partner.
Yeah. I was surprised that they didn't bring Striker back because I thought he did really well in this match and the crowd seemed into him. So
not that Matt Striker, by the way.
No, the pure wrestling Ring of Honor Matt Striker.
Which I feel like that's the name of the pure wrestling Ring of Honor Matt Striker. It's like Matt Striker, not that Matt Striker.
Yes. So it's honestly the Matt Striker I think of first now.
Not the current Impact announcer.
No. Because he's been, like, off, like, WWE TV for so long and doesn't do New Japan anymore, so... like, up until, like, the Lucha Underground days, I was still, like, that Matt Striker. But now, like, since I'm watching Ring of Honor and stuff at the same time, I think I'm Unibrow Matt Striker as my Matt Striker now.
So that brings us to NWA-TNA pay-per-view number 51, June 25th, in which Frankie Kazarian faces the reigning and defending X Division champion Chris Sabin in a non-title match.
Oh, someone get to JB!
Every single time he says reigning and defending.
He said it for a tag match!
And every single time Mike Tenay has to go, it's not defending, it's a non-title match.
Today doesn't do it anymore!
No, he did it here.
He didn't do it in the tag!
He absolutely did it here.
Oh, we were probably talking about it. I didn't hear him do it here. But he didn't do it in the tag. Someone yell at him. Someone yell at JB. Ooh. Ooh.
Yeah, Tenay is like, this is a non-title match. It's like the 7th time he's had to do this.
Can you speak to him backstage in the meeting, please? Mike?
But, like, JB's in his ear. Like, everything they say to each other, they hear, because that's the way they time the announcing and stuff. So it's like, he can hear him say...
I wonder if it's a rib. I wonder if he's doing it on purpose to annoy Tenay now. And to annoy me.
Mostly you.
Yeah.
So, in this reigning and defending non-title match, Kazarian defeats Chris Sabin. It's very funny, actually. On the commentary, they're like, it's non-title. It's definitely non-title. And Don West is like, it wouldn't even be fair if it was a title match, because Kazarian has just come into the division.
Yeah, that was the story that they were going with, which I thought was actually... Like, he had to earn the title shot by beating Sabin.
So, Frankie Kazarian defeated Chris Sabin with a flux capacitor in a weird match.
I thought it was a little disappointing.
I thought it suffered from, like, coming after the Triple X AMW match, which was, like, the big barn burner, like, blood everywhere match of the year candidate. So I think the crowd were a little slow to get into it, and also they're just not that familiar with both Sabin and Kazarian at this stage, honestly.
Yeah, and also, like, it followed the London match of the week before, which was way better, so...
I thought that the crowd really got into the back half. Basically, everything after Chris Sabin did the run-up the ropes German, I thought was pretty good.
Yeah, a little dull for me, but I'm sure they'll have a better match at some point.
But yeah, Chris Sabin did the cool run-up-the-ropes overhead German, where Frankie Kazarian did the flip. It was really cool. But Kaz hit the Wave of the Future, went up top, hit the flux capacitor, which Mike Tenay correctly called as a one-man Spanish fly.
And that one, he always looks so much more, like, janky and dangerous when Kaz does it.
Because he does it differently. He doesn't just do the straight moonsault. He does the thing where he, like, does a little up and over.
He goes to the side.
Yeah.
It's very, like, scary.
It's not the same move exactly. It's not like he can't do it. It is a choice. It is a slightly different variation of the move.
Yeah.
But yeah, everyone calls the Spanish fly, the top rope Spanish fly, like, that everybody does now, the Spanish fly. It's not. It's a one-man Spanish fly. Spanish fly is a two-person move. So yes, Kazarian defeated Sabin, presumably to make himself a contender for the X Division Championship sometime in the future.
Yeah, I'm sure, and like I said, I'm sure they'll one-up the match.